started these. How did we start these? Hey, and welcome to Jank It Up, Fuzzball. I'm your host, Brian, a.k.a. Jank Gunray, and we are back after a super long hiatus. I believe the last episode came out in September, so it's certainly been a while. We are recording this on June 2nd. I'm here, I say we, because I'm in person in my studio with my good buddy, Greg. Greg, so good to see you again.
Yeah, it's great to be in person discussing Destiny and playing Destiny.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we're both fully vaccinated, which is what is making this possible. And we played our very first in-person live Destiny just this past weekend for the first time since last March.
We say it's been a year, but it's more than significantly more than a year.
So it's been more than a year. So we have lots of stuff to get caught up on. We have like 3 main topics I want to hit on as time allows. And, this is going to be winding down Jank It Up Fuzzball. This episode, and I think I'll have one more to fully put a bow on it. But I'm excited here. We have a lot of cool stuff to talk about. This is not the end of my Destiny playing. So long as you're playing, Greg, then I'll be playing. But we're good for that. So one of the things we want to talk about is that over this pandemic time, we've been playing on TTS a whole lot. And one of the things we did is we started doing kind of box battles, where we would take a set, and for us, since we didn't get involved until kind of the second cycle, we would go back to the Awakening, Spirit of Rebellion, and Empire War, and we would play through a box. And do you want to tell the listener or listeners what was our process for doing that?
Right. So we each had our own box of whatever the set was, and then we would take randomly pull 9 packs. And we would crack them in front of each other for fun of just discussing the cards.
Right, over Zoom.
Yes. Right. Yeah, let's be clear. Yeah. Everything over Zoom. Yeah, holding the cards up to the camera too, especially because a lot of times they were infinite. We weren't familiar with them because they're from Awakenings or Empire War, and so we'd hold them up to the camera, look at them, talk about it, and then we'd have 2-3 days to draft with them with rivals, and then we'd repeat for Allies of Necessity.
Right. 9
packs again. Then the final 18 we would draft or take those, and same thing, go over them on Zoom, talk about them, but then we'd get to pick the draft set, Rivals or Allies of Necessity. And then finally, for those keeping track, the 4th time playing, we would do a box battle, which is no draft kit, but just everything from your box.
Right.
Which honestly was a lot of fun because at that point we all knew what was coming, and we would just guess at each other's teams, and also, okay, I'm going to put this card in because I know he's going to play either this character or this support. Actually, I think supports were a big part of every time we played. And it was a lot of fun, even though it was, of course, over Zoom and TTS.
Right. But I love that process because you just get a lot of bang for the buck because you get 4 rounds or 4 nights of entertainment out of one box. And actually, we had more than that because we would, we're drinking beer constantly as we do this. So we're looking at packs, we're having a good time, we're socializing, socially distanced, and then we play through, which is awesome. So we did that over the pandemic. We did that on those 3 boxes for the first cycle of the Infinite, and then we did our covert missions boxes, and that was right about a year ago. I remember opening it. My family and I, we took a socially distanced vacation to Arkansas, and I remember being there and finishing that box in Arkansas right around the end of June. So it's been a while. So that was cool. We still have some boxes we can do. But just real quick, something really neat happened. A couple of different neat things happened. First of all, Aegis Creative Company, many of you know them. They're printing a lot of the content creator sets that are coming out now. Press reached out to me and said, "Hey, can you redo the Maul alt art you did for the new Maul?" So when my first alt art card I ever did was Maul. It was the Legacies Maul. He said, "Can you make a version that's for the Spark of Hope Maul?" So I did that. I updated it, the artwork. I mean, no big changes, but updated the card. And that was awesome. And so Press, in turn, printed the card. And not only did he print the card, he printed dice. So he printed 6 dice. And these aren't stickers. These were printed on the dice. And he sent that to me just as a gift, which was so generous. So I have some extra alt arts. So I had metal cards. I had plastic cards. Maybe some plastic and some paper. It was amazing. But I had these 6 Maul dice. I kept 2. Greg, I didn't give you any. Sorry. But you're not the Maul player. That's fine. But I thought, who am I going to give these other dice to? And there's 2 people that share my Maul enthusiasm. And one is Alan Preston, who's been a huge supporter of Jank It Up Fuzzball and myself. And he was the one that gifted me my 2 Mauls that I took to Worlds and that I've terrorized my son and Greg with over on occasion. So I sent 2 dice to him. And the other one was Kevin of the Roll On podcast, which Kevin and his brother Corwin had this amazing podcast, Roll On. It was really great. And I sent it to Kevin. Just as a thank you, because I got to meet them at Worlds. It was super great. But Kevin's also a Maul enthusiast, so that was awesome. So In return, unsolicited, Kevin said, "Hey, I got something I'm going to send to you." I said, "Great." And a big box arrived at my house, and it was an unopened box of Legacies and an unopened box of Way of the Force. And he said, "Hey, you should do something with the podcast." And I was like, "Absolutely." And we've done box battles before, but for me, Greg, it seemed unfair for like you to have one set and me to have the other, because you never know if you're going to pull the garbage legendaries or the good legendaries. And then we kind of tapped into our old Magic days of drafting, and not just drafting, but like, is it Winchester? Is that right, or is it West? I forgot the term.
I think it's Winchester.
Winchester, right? So, How would you explain a Winchester draft?
Oh gosh, I mean, I think it's just round robin, right?
Right.
Just kind of like we each have a stack of cards from boosters. We flip, and then some person says, "Okay, I'm going to take one stack," and then we flip cards again. And so as the stack is ignored, the stack grows until finally someone can't stand it anymore, that there are so many cards, and they take it. So we kind of did a little bit something like that.
We did a little variation of that. So we've done a little bit of drafting. I think 2 nights in our lives we've done some draft with some friends. So what I did is I took the 2 boxes, I dumped them all out on my floor, and then I mixed them all up, and I put 18 packs of Legacies in a box, and then 18 packs of Way of the Force in the same box, and then I dropped off a box at Craig's house. So we each had 36 packs, 18 from each set. And then we did kind of the same thing, the same process that you just outlined, is we would crack 9 packs. And I think we agreed to get like 5 Way of the Force or 4, so it was kind of balanced. But after we cracked the packs, we knew that these just weren't our cards. We were going to draft. So we open our cards, we show them what we got. We kept all the non-dice cards. So all of those are in our collection no matter what. But then we kind of stacked up the dice, it's the dice cards, excuse me. And then we, over Zoom, again, we flipped over 2 at a time. So I would say I have this card up and this card up, and you have that card up and that card up. And then we would draft from those 4. And if Greg took whatever card, we would replace it from the stack. And there's a little bit of gamesmanship in that.
Oh, yeah.
Because we already know which 9 cards you have and which 9 cards I have. And it really becomes a question of, if I take one of my cards, then I know that something else in my deck is going to come up, giving you the opportunity to take. Or if I take your card, then I know something's going to come up from yours. What did you think of that process? I enjoyed it.
It was great. And you're right about the almost counting down. Okay, I know we have, you have 3 cards left. I have 2 cards left. So if I take this card, then there are X many times to flip, and I really want this card you have. So what are the odds that I'm going to not get it?
Right.
Yeah, so it was a little bit of that. So we definitely were planning very carefully, and both of us had things we wanted maybe for our collection, but also we might want them to play. And then the third part of that is, I don't want you to have that.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of protection. Yeah.
Which we were drafting, and for example, you had Afra, or you had gotten Afra, and I'm like, okay, well, it is now my job to make sure he doesn't get BT1 and Trip 0, because I think we had all 3 in play. Not the same round of draft, but in the box.
Even for the box,
yeah. So I wanted to make sure you didn't have the whole Afra machine for the box battle. Right, yeah. So I can't remember what I took, but I made sure I took at least 1 droid.
I think you had both droids. You
kept both droids, yeah.
You kept both of them away from me. But it's like in the first round, and we're not going to go blow by blow, but in that first time we did it, a battle droid came up, right? Mm-hmm. So here's a 6-cost red character, and it's like we were all like salivating. It's like, oh, when that comes up, we knew that was going to be the pick. It didn't come up in the first round, and then you got I think we rolled dice or did something to determine who was going to draw. Do you remember the first? And I don't have it anymore, but do you remember the first card you took?
No, I don't.
I do. I can tell you exactly who it was.
Oh.
Newt effing Gunray.
Oh yeah, of course, right? Because it's your bane.
Oh my gosh,
you hate him.
I hate him, and he came up, and you took him, and it was brutal. So, but it was a fun process, because then we also said, hey, I had to make a note. Like, Greg has this card physically at his house, but I drafted it, so it's going to be my card. So we equalized up good. But that was a fun process of mixing these 2 sets. Legacies is where I got involved in the game. I feel like you came in with that Way of the Force era as well. So it was just like a nice warm place to be. And super fun. And do you remember the first couple of teams in that first round that you built?
So, yeah, the first team I built was Newt, your favorite. Yeah. And Newt, Anakin, and Jabba.
Right, so Anakin would have been Rivals Anakin.
Yeah,
and then this is Tickle
Jabba.
Yeah. Right, and so I pulled, out of the first set, I drafted 2 legendaries. I got Rex and Force Wave, and you got Dagger Mortis, which is important. Mm-hmm. We'll come back to that. But I did get the battle droid, and so one of my teams was Rex, Sebulba, Anakin, so I could go Rainbow. And then I also had a team of battle droid, the big beefy Obi-Wan, that everyone has like 1,000 copies of, and then Sebulba. And you just smoked me 2 games in a row. It wasn't even close.
And it was interesting because I think you were you were more scared of Newt, I feel like.
I tried to kill Newt.
You tried to kill Newt,
twice.
and then Jabba was just rolling, I feel like his focus. He wasn't rolling the special. He was rolling focus, and I was just flipping to damage over and over and over.
And it was, I was so, because Newt's annoying, right?
And money, focus and money. Yeah, Jabba's running focus and money like crazy.
So a couple things about Newt, right? You can choose to lose a resource or you can choose to lose some cards. And we don't play with a timer. And so sometimes our games will go 30, 40, 45 minutes. But getting milled out in a sealed is not uncommon, right? You can lose by getting milled out.
I feel like it happens at least once every other night we've played seals. So, at least one game, someone will get milled.
I was very conscious of that. And so even I would kill Newt, but then I'd still be looking at a full health Jabba, and he's pretty beefy, and then Anakin. And I just got beat. I got crushed the first game. Then I switched to my Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan, when he activates, he can get a shield, which is awesome. But then you threw Dagger Mortis down on Anakin, which steals a shield from a blue character. And so it was a bad night for me.
Yeah.
But I made up for it. Second round, we did the whole process again. That's when I pulled Afra, so that was really cool. I also pulled a Rose. That's a highlight for me. It goes to show, like, the best card I got to draw first, and the best card that I took was Vibro Cutlass. I mean, it's at the time it was good, but I got lots of characters. I pulled a Talzin and Aphra. I got Crate Speeder. That was kind of a target. But you got Trip Zero, you got Snoke, you got Piet. So you got some affordable characters to help you out. You got Boss Nass. So and Stealthy. I know you were just wanting that.
I just wanted Stealthy from the collection. Yeah.
So that's good. And that round I think was the most competitive. I think that was the only round, spoiler alert, that we went 3 games where we played 2 out of 3. And so those were really close, like last turn kind of games. Obviously, like I felt like a couple of those could have swung at any moment, and that was a lot of fun. I won. I took it, so I was happy. So it's 1-1. We went to the third round, which is we opened the rest of the packs, and then we have to draft through all those 36 packs at this point. 18 for you, 18 for me, and then all the other cards came out. So a quick rundown of the legendaries you drafted out of both boxes, right? So this is Legacies and Way of the Force. You got Dagger Mortis, Stealthy, Snoke, Fifth Brother's Lightsaber, Wheelbike, General Grievous's Wheelbike, and Callus's Bow Rifle. I got Rex, Force Wave, Aphra. I got Maul. I got my second copy of Maul's Saber. I think you actually kind of let me have that, if I remember right, because you were nice to me. And then I got Kylo's Starfighter. So I got a whole bunch of blue, and that really was pretty nice. That third round. Do you remember what your? We didn't even talk about your teams on the second round. What were your teams
on the second round, I ran Snoke, Piet, and Outer Rim Outlaw.
Okay.
Which I was excited to play Snoke because I still am like learning to play Snoke, and I remember I definitely lost the first game of 3.
Yeah.
And then because I was still like not timing my Snoke well, or you were just seeing it coming and you were removing damage dice before I had a chance.
Right.
And then I got a little bit of a handle on him and I won that second one, but then you demolished me the third.
Right. So I played Rose, Aphra, Finral, and then I also had a Talzin, Rose, Aphra, Astrogation. So so like I said, those were 3 amazing games, but I pulled out that third one somehow. So in round 3, though, man, it was fun because I also pulled Little Anakin. So a cheap yellow character. So I had Maul and then Count Dooku from AON and Little Annie. That was my first team. And then I also had a second team, which was 4 wide. So I had Force Sensitive Outcast, Executioner, Gungan, and Little Annie. And it was fun for me.
I was rolling Jedha Partisan, Count Dooku, and Fen Rao, which is, if anyone's adding up health, is not a lot of health, and so it definitely it was a problem, especially against your 4 wide, which weren't that threatening. I just couldn't. I didn't have the health points to keep up with your 4 wide. And I was trying to. I think I'm looking at my deck list. I was definitely trying to put out supports on that one, but I couldn't keep up. And so you beat me 2 games. It was pretty done.
Well, I remember Kylo's Starfighter actually came in handy in one of those games. It actually did some work for me, which was nice, which was good. But then we get back to the box. So at this point, there's no draft kit. We have all these cards. I remember I don't remember, but I was excited that I pulled both copies of Easy Pickings.
Yep.
So there was 2 copies in that box, and you didn't get any. So I'm sorry. But that was cool. You know, we each had some cards that the others didn't have, which was nice. I actually built 3 decks for that night, and I just happened to pull the wrong one up on TTS. So I had Maul, Talzin, Executioner. I think I wanted to go with another one that had Little Annie, but I was like, whatever. And I just got rolled because what'd you show up with? I
showed up with your old favorite, Newt Gunray, and Jabba again, and Piet.
Yeah, Piet.
Yeah. And it was kind of like, it worked. I had other things I could put in instead of Piet, so I went back and forth, and I probably had 3 or 4 variations. which by the way is another advantage of TTS, where you've just got the deck list loaded up, ready to pull other
100%,
ones.
yeah.
So you're ready to go in a heartbeat. But especially if the deck doesn't work out. But yeah.
Well, after I lost that first game, I switched back to my 4-white, which the same character, but it had just been updated because I couldn't have any of the other draft kit cards, and you smoked me again, right? So was Newt is. So...
I'm sorry, was Baby Anakin in the second deck? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's the same 4-white I had.
Yeah. So that was the other thing is like I'm like the boy. This we like to joke about, right? Go for the boy.
Well, yeah, and you knew I had 2 copies of these.
Yeah, because he's the only yellow character. Yeah, so I'm like, I'm just murdering this small child as quickly as I can to
that's
really,
stop. Yeah, that's what happens. I was like, okay, so you lost. I was all like, kind of. I don't know. I thought my 4-white could handle Newt, and it clearly could not. Right, Newt. It's just so oppressive. Maybe I was too focused on Newt. Maybe
it was tough because you were trying to make up your mind on also the which do you take, the resource cut or the card loss? Because I feel like you were like, you know what, I'll take the card loss. I'm gonna start going for. I want to keep my resources. And then, but you're still trying to kill him, right?
Yeah.
And the main thing is, we joked the whole time I played. So how many rounds did I play Jabba? 4.
4. Yeah.
And he rolled that special, I think, one time.
Yeah.
And it was just he kept rolling the focus and the money, and I just kept, which allowed me to keep turning dice and putting out supports.
It was
the special was less valuable for me, so it worked out really well.
Because you just didn't, obviously
I didn't have a lot of specials.
You weren't building on that.
Yeah.
I was so kind of pissed off about Newt Gunray and obsessed. Right after that, we chose a theme. We said, hey, bounty hunter deck, but you have to have one of the bounty hunter plots, and so many yellow characters or whatever it is. So I ran closing in with, I don't know, one of the droid bounty hunters, and then I put Newt Gunray in just to stick it to you. And I totally won that, but it felt better just as a consolation prize. But yeah, so you won the first round and the last round. I won rounds 2 and 3. Overall, super fun. I would 100% do this format again.
Yeah,
and I know we each have lots of boxes, but rather than just crack a box, I love the drafting idea. I love the strategy of that, and then playing through is great.
Right. I think we could mix up, especially with infinite boxes. We still have a lot of infinite. So we can mix up 2 boxes like that and do it again.
Absolutely.
And I asked you this on a previous podcast. I don't know if you would, if you've changed your mind, but I had said, would you do this again? Would you want to draft over Zoom or at least in person in advance, and rather than try to cram it all in one night, to give you more time to think? And like, is it more fun, or do you like the competitive nature of I've got to draft right now, I've got to hurry up and get this done? Like,
that's a great take. And what we kind of glossed over here is that because we had a couple of days, we showed up with multiple decks, right? And we made it allowed. We're like, hey, you can't, you couldn't like switch a draft kit, but you can totally bring a second deck. And we couldn't do that if we were in person, right? You would just more or less build one deck and then make minor changes.
Yeah,
we're not going to whole sleep.
Oh, I think us the worst we've ever done is maybe change out 4 cards, right? It's like, I mean, especially when you've got like remove melee dice, then someone's not running melee,
Right.
So
yeah,
it's that kind of thing.
So that's a great, because you're right. I'm not exactly looking to play more TTS. That's another topic I want to get to today. So yeah, I think it's maybe you do the draft over Zoom just out of convenience, and then say, hey, come on over and we'll roll the dice that way.
I think I personally find that more fun. It's a lot, and then you're also just less tired by the third game. You're mentally more ready to have fun versus the stress of drafting and everything.
Right. I'm just more mentally like less sober by the third game.
That's a fact. Yeah, if you draft and play 3 games,
you're done. Yeah.
Well, you won't make it to 3 games.
You're done. Yeah. So super fun format. I would. Boxes, the price of boxes has kind of stabilized and gone up, right? There are no longer dirt cheap boxes because inventory is finally drying up. So if you're still playing FFG product, I would recommend giving it a chance. It was a lot of fun. Cool. Well, that's the first topic we want to talk about. And in conclusion, Kevin, thank you so much. Greg and I had a blast playing through these boxes. We tried something new, and it's something that we're going to carry into some other boxes. So Kevin, really appreciate the generosity there. Thank you very, very much.
Agreed.
Our second topic is generally playing a year's worth of TTS, right? I am not one. I don't know if you are, but I don't jump on TTS to just play a random game. I don't play with randos anymore. I did that right when I did that before you got involved in the game. But once you were in, and I could tell you were in, for the long haul, then I stopped that, and I was off TTS for over a year until the pandemic. Pros and cons, Greg. Do you miss it?
So we, I feel like we've discussed this a little bit before, but I mean the easy pros are what we've already said, deckless. I mean, and ironically, this happened just recently where I was out, with family, and I came back and I had barely sleeved at all, and I was trying to race and sleeve, and I made you wait like 30 minutes before I came over because it takes so long to sleeve.
It's very inconsiderate of you.
Yeah. So that's the big pro or deckless. Just pop them out, or even going back like, you know what, that deck I played 3 months ago, I'm just gonna pull that up right now and just drop it on the table. That is the biggest pro by far. I mean, for us. I mean, obviously, if I want to play with someone in California, that's a huge pro too.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's nothing can compare to that. There's no way I could quickly, even if I had the deck list printed out in front of me, it would still probably take me 15 or 20 minutes to sleeve with my collection right next to me, minimum.
Right. Yeah.
So there's just nothing compares to that.
Yeah. I thought, just sheer convenience. It was great, for sure. But for me, just like there's some technical things. Like one time after I updated my computer or something, like it was really glitchy. Like that night was painful for me because there was such a lag. So I had to change some things and change some settings. And I was trying to think about even recording some games, and then I just gave that up. And you're constantly zooming in, like, what does that die say? You're constantly like.
So the cons really are high. There's for me at least. We talk about it as the night goes on, and honestly, I think even if I were 100% sober, not drinking beer, I just get tired of zooming in, zooming out, and staring at the screen. Especially when you're just squinting at cards, because maybe I'm not zooming in enough. But also, I definitely, and this is something I've complained about many times, I definitely lose board presence awareness on TTS.
Yeah, no,
it's especially if it's a diceless support or something. It just falls off my worldview. It's off there in the corner of the table. I stop zooming, I stop looking at it, and then you flip it for something. You tap it, and I didn't see it coming, and I get mad at myself. So that is, my board presence awareness. Despite me moving the mouse around, zooming in, whatever, I sound like such an old man. But yeah, it is.
We are old.
Yeah, it just doesn't compare to the in-person aspect. And I think the other one is just, I feel like also not appreciating a lot of the finer points of the game. I mean, sometimes I'm like, I have not looked at this card art, really looked at it in so long, and it's like, oh, this is a cool card, and of course the big one is feeling dice in your hand, which it sounds kind of dumb, but it feels great to shake
them up,
and roll, especially at I mean, I've heard you cringe verbally on TTS. You're like, oh, here it comes. I highlight 7 dice and then start shaking them. But it does not compare to picking up 7 dice and shaking them. Nothing compares to that. So that's part of the fun of the whole game, was the rolling the dice. Oh, and then and I really appreciate everything the module creators have done to make this game great. To this day, I still not 100% trust the RNG on the deck.
This is a big beef of Greg's.
I've got data to back this up practically.
Yeah.
I have mulliganed 2 cards, thrown 2 cards back, so there is a 2 out of 27 chance of me getting those cards back, and I'll get 1 or both of them back after several shuffles. And I'm sorry, it's a beef of me because it happens every time, every night, and the odds are not that good. So yeah, it just doesn't compare to the. I mean, that never happens with an in-person shuffle. So, but that's a minor thing. I can live with that. The other cons are way heavier.
I just think it's funny, and a lot of you, hopefully, if you're still playing Destiny, you maybe you're playing in person, but for us, like, I had ordered basically I ordered a set of covert missions minus the legendaries from Game Shop of Destiny, and that arrived, but it's been sitting in its own box. So it's like when we actually came to build for this past weekend, I'm like, where are those cards? I had that moment. And then we were playing, it's like, hey, it's Merchant Freighter. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
No one's putting the tokens on it for me, so I need to go dig out the tokens and drop them.
I said it to you. You didn't do it. You just set it on the table, and I'm like, you gonna put resources on that? And you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah. What do I gotta do? And then like damage tokens and figuring it out. And
that actually felt good too. As much as I would think that would not feel good, it was like, you're like, I'm sitting with 3 damage. You're like, okay, I'm going to do 3 more. And I swap it up for a 5 and a 1. And it actually was fun to do that again. It didn't seem like that would be fun. Like, I missed it, but I did miss that.
No, the simple thing. And I busted out my playmat just to make it feel a little better. Mm-hmm. And we have some dice boats from Kingwood Hobbies that are just amazing. So it just, I agree. It felt great. Mm-hmm. I built some janky stuff that got its butt kicked. That's okay. But it's just rolling the dice, jawing at each other in person, having some drinks, and 100%. So I think we're kind of done with TTS. pending another pandemic of some sort, right? I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. The only way I ever see us happening again, I could definitely see us for family and other conflicts zooming for drafting.
100%. Yeah.
For drafting, yeah. But for TTS, I mean, really would have to be like if one of us was going to, if we really wanted to play, one of us was staying somewhere else in the country for like 2 weeks or something like that. And we're like, oh, well, let's play, you know?
There you go. So, hey, that's our thoughts on TTS. Well, that's cool. Last topic for today, which is something that I was kind of thinking about. And if you've listened to this podcast at all, and if you haven't, then I'm sorry you got on this late. But, I used to play with my son. My son would play a lot. And then he's grown older now. And he's kind of left Destiny. That's fine. He's playing Roblox and other stuff. But I started late last year, early this year, building a couple of the Dice Commando Smash decks. And I love the idea of this. The Dice Commando team made kind of pre-made 15-card decks based on some characters that are right in that 14, 15-point range. And there's just like, you have these set up, you randomly choose 2 characters, and then you literally kind of smash the decks together and play. So it's ready-made. You don't have to go through the process of finding your cards and doing all that. And so I had 5 decks from their Phase 1. They've actually released Phase 2 earlier this year, but I had 5 of those. And so after you whooped my butt a couple times in our kind of pre-made standard decks, we played some Smash. We played 1 game of Smash, and I kicked your butt, which was fun. Mm-hmm. But what are your thoughts on this kind of the format, the ready-made? I think it's something that we both enjoyed, but I don't want to speak too much for you. So.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. It's a good idea, and I also think if you want to bring new players into a dead game, it's also great for that too. Which but I mean, I think a lot of the mechanics of Destiny are not difficult to understand. So if you wanted to be like, hey, let me show you how to play Destiny, it would be a great introduction, and it kind of puts everyone on even footing. And so yeah, I thought it was great. I told you then, I'm like, I definitely want to do it again. I actually liked also the way we did it this time. It's like, hey, let's maybe bring 1 or 2 decks constructed, we'll play, and then, we still want to play some more? Let's do some Smash.
Smash, yeah.
Mini drafts.
Right, and that's what's awesome. It's just like, and I know we only had 5, but I think the full set of Phase 1 is 18. You're entitled to make as many or as few decks as you want, or you can. So that's cool. I did order Aegis Creative Company. They provide like some pre-cut, pre-art boxes that you can fold yourself and make, which I think will be amazing just to have even more compact storage for these. And so then you can just pull them off the shelf. And the last few times I've played with my son, we've played Smash because it's just like, hey, I have these decks, let's smash them together. I let him choose his characters and whatnot instead of just random. But yeah, it's been great. So hats off. My hat is off to Dice Commando for doing that. They're doing a lot of things to keep the game going in terms of that. So that's awesome. Greg, we're winding down. We haven't really touched on the content creator, the new sets. I think I'll speak more of this next episode, but my opinion, and I'm not speaking for Greg, my opinion is I'm just not interested in it, right? I mean, I've poured my effort, my heart. I love the FFG product. I wish no ill will to the content creators, but I really have no desire to play with that product. But what's your thought?
It's similar, although if you wanted to, I would give it a chance, right? I would get involved. It's also something where I feel like it's almost like a queue, and there's so many other things I want to do still with Destiny. We still haven't played Infinite.
Right.
And we keep saying we will because we keep opening more old boxes.
Or 4040. I mean, there's other things.
Yeah. There's and now you introduced me to Smash. So all those kind of take higher priority for me. I will say that I played, the video game Jedi Fallen Order, and I loved seeing those characters in one of the created sets.
Right, yeah. And then the Mandalorian characters are coming out in this new set.
Right. So that was very cool, and I'll admit it made me want to play. I mean, right. But it was not higher than a lot of these other to-dos, I would almost say.
I guess. I think also one of the things that I love that Renewed Hope, that committee cannot give us is cracking packs, right?
Yeah.
And that's just the joy of it. Over Christmas, I actually did a video series on the 12 packs of Christmas. I don't know. It's been so long. But I did some video work for Jank It Up Fuzzball just because I wanted to learn some new skills and do some stuff. And it was fun just to crack packs again. And obviously with the creator sets, you're buying the set. There is no scarcity. There's no legendary. It's just that's how it is. So I don't know. Again, I think it's super exciting what they're doing. It just doesn't speak to me as a Destiny player. And that doesn't mean it's wrong. Doesn't mean it's bad. It's just not the way I enjoy playing for right now. But speaking of crack packs, something we do historically on Jank It Up Fuzzball is we crack packs at the end of the episode. And what we have, Greg and I each have a pack of covert missions. Why do we have this pack, Greg?
Well, I guess it was like over a year ago. We had the covert missions box, right?
Yeah.
And we just saved one pack.
That's right.
Was it the last, instead of 18 packs, we just did 17?
We just did 17, right?
Yeah.
So we saved the last pack from our box to crack open on a future podcast episode, which turned out to be almost 11 months later. That's fine, but we have it. So in true Jank It Up fashion, these will not be legendaries, right? Because we already pulled our 6. So before we open these, what is the one covert missions card? Like, what would be the most letdown?
Biggest letdown?
Yeah. What card would you like sigh? You're like, oh.
I guess. Well, it's a legendary, but I did crack the pirate guy, which I think you could build around. I can't remember his name. Sinjir?
Yeah. I pulled him too. Right?
Yeah. Right. So,
I pulled Magna Glove. Beat that.
Oh yeah. Okay. Good one.
Yeah.
Those are legendary. So I'm trying to think of the rares. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I think one card that was a letdown for both us, which I doubt we would pull here, was the pilot. I forget her name. And she just hasn't worked out the way we really thought she would.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
The yellow one?
Her name. Yeah. And
Wow, we've totally forgot her name. And I just,
Yeah.
Tora.
Yeah. And I think I was excited by her. I thought there were some good combos, and I think we both have tried to make her work, and it hasn't quite worked. So
Right. For the audience, I built a Neapolitan, so I tore 3 ways about a month ago, and then Greg proceeded to destroy each of those decks. So
yeah, I mean, not to be too harsh, but I think it was pretty solid beat.
Yeah.
I think her dice size just didn't work out, but I don't want to get into discussion of it. It's so I off the top of my head, I don't think we'd pull that either, because I think we pulled a couple in these boxes. So I doubt that. I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, who knows, right? But I hope it's something janky, but we'll see.
I'm gonna guess one of us at least is gonna pull an upgrade. I think because I feel like we were a little light on upgrades.
This is better, yeah. Upgrade.
I think we pulled a lot of characters in these boxes, so I'd be shocked.
I bet we're gonna get the vehicle downgrade mod. I'm just kidding. I have no idea.
Oh, that's good. Wait, are there any curses or anything like that in here? Downgrade dice? Yeah, is there?
Well, remember the curse that you love is the big curse with the dice that can only be resolved against the character.
Yeah, I do not like that.
Yeah, I know. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's another card you claimed
that's
yours.
We're about to practice, but that's one of the things playing in person where it's like the table size is not nearly as big as TTS. So all of a sudden you get these downgrades, you get these bounties, and things just start taking up the table. It's funny. It's like, oh, do we have room? I got to scoot stuff over. It's a good time. All right, Greg, you're the guest. I'm going to insist that you
all right.
You go first.
Let's see. Yellow die. It looks like a character.
It is not Tora.
It is not Tora, though.
It's a good character, though.
Yeah, all right. It's Kragan Gore, pirate captain. Character, leader, pirate, scoundrel. Cool. I like the 3
Have you played Kragan
types.
ever?
No. Have you?
Maybe once. Maybe.
Yeah. 13, 16 points. He's got some pretty fat damage sides of 2 ranged, 3 ranged for 1, 3 indirect, 1 disrupt, and 1 resource and a blank. And of course, his text is, after you activate this character, you may activate one of your pirates. If an opponent has an exhausted character and no dice showing damage, you may take 1 resource from them.
It's pretty conditional. I like the thieving aspect of it, but yeah. Do you know if you haven't? Did you crack another one? I don't know.
I don't remember either of us cracking this card in the boxes.
It's possible.
I know you have a set of these, but
I
I don't know.
Okay, what was your uncommon?
Abandoned Refinery, which I think I do have. It's just a battleground. Power action, discard a support, upgrade you control to play a support or upgrade from your hand, decreasing its cost by 1, then draw a card.
I feel like that landed on the restricted list pretty quickly.
Really?
Yeah.
I can remember. Yeah, it's too powerful to throw away.
It's pretty powerful.
Cheap things.
I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But, okay, and what are the comments?
Assail, rogue tendencies, and forestall.
Any of those would you play?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there was something that I thought of a deck with forestall. Was this one of our...
What does forestall do? Remind me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Turn up to 2 of your dice aside showing a shield. Isn't there... Wait, which blue character is the one where you resolve shields as melee? Isn't that
Luke?
Yeah. Old Man Luke?
Old Man Luke.
Yeah. And I was like, it should have forestall in this deck. Clearly, it's like the red indirect where you turn both your dice to indirect.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. I mean, you roll them out, and worst case scenario, you get something with a shield and one of his sides, so you resolve that.
Right.
Or his stick, which
That's
also
great and practical. Yeah.
Anyway, something. So there's something there. Yeah. But so I think that'd be good.
So you got 1 blue, 1 yellow, 1 red. Mm-hmm. All good.
Yeah. Nice mixture.
Okay, so you got Kragan. It'd be funny if I got Kragan and we suddenly made Elite Kragan. It's not going to be Kragan. It is, I don't even know what that is.
Looks like an upgrade.
It kind of looks like an upgrade. It is The E11D Blaster Rifle. 3 cost. It is a villain upgrade weapon. 1 range, 2 range, plus 3 range, 1 disrupt, 1 discard, and a blink. While this upgrade is on an elite character, it has redeploy. And after you play this upgrade on a non-unique character, you may gain 1 resource. So you get a benefit one way or the other. Elite. So it could be the same, right? So if now you have non-unique elite characters, such as the Death Trooper, which is featured on the card art. So I've tried to put this in a deck or two. It's just expensive, right? It's
right. I have also put in like a Phasma Trooper deck for the like you said, it can go either way. If she's still alive and go in there, otherwise it's a pretty good. Also overwrite too for powerful.
Yeah. So I mean, it'd be fun to make it work, but I'm not exactly sure the best way to do that. My uncommon is Plunder. It is a yellow villain event, 1 cost. Play only if you do not control the battlefield. Spot any number of pirates to take that many resource from an opponent. So this would go in a Kragan deck for sure. And here's some good stuff. So my commons, Change of Fortune. It's got that DJ with this funny face. Funny smirk, I should say. 2 cost event. Choose a symbol, then reroll any number of an opponent's dice. Remove each of those dice that just rolled the chosen symbol. That's high gambling for 2. I mean, you're really... I don't know about that. Red, 1 cost villain event. I'll handle this myself. Turn one of your character dice to any side. If you control exactly 1 character, you may resolve that die. I mean, I suppose it could be useful. And then lastly, Trust Your Feelings. 0 cost blue hero event. Reroll up to 2 of your dice. Then you may resolve 1 of your dice. Then you may use the action on your plot titled Destroy the Death Star for free. We have not played with those plots yet.
So we have not played with those plots, but it's interesting because I kind of forgot about that card. And we have put that card in decks that have nothing to do with the plot because it was kind of a cool card too. It's 0 cost and it's the roll and then resolve immediately for 0 cost. So you don't really need the second part to make it a pretty decent card.
No, it's not bad. You get to reroll 2 of your dice and then you may resolve 1, only 1, but you can still resolve 1 for free. So that's
and there's no restriction on the dice either. It's any dice.
Any dice. So that helps out.
I forgot about this event. I kind of want to put that back in play again.
There you go. We've had, the card art features Pilot Luke, right? Red 5 Luke. And we've had a lot of fun with him.
It's the best card in the entire set.
he's been a lot of fun. We've made lots of teams with Luke.
I put him in all the time with just his 1 vehicle. It's not even a support deck. It's just it's Luke guns a blazing.
It's great. He's a little squishy, but yeah. If I see him across the TTS table, I usually try to shoot him down first. So, well, cool. Well, hey, this has been a lot of fun, and like I said, I'm going to do one more episode to formally close shop on Jank It Up Fuzzball. But Greg, thank you for. We kind of planned this, and then our schedules didn't align, and then I was going to record without you, and then schedules realigned. I'm glad we made time for this. I value your input, and I value just being able to play Destiny with you, and it's been great having you on these episodes, even though it's been a long time since the last one, but it's been really awesome. Any final thoughts, Greg?
I guess my final thought would be in theme of this, that we're going to keep playing. So I hope other people do not forget the game completely just because it's a lot of fun. And there seems to be so many different ways you can play. So I'm excited about, I would say TTS was wearing me down.
Right.
So coming back live in person has definitely reinvigorated my interest in the game.
That's awesome. Yeah, I could kind of feel that same kind of just weariness, right? You're just kind of done. But it'll be different because we can't just throw together 5 decks on TTS and be ready to go. You got to have the time. Like you said, turns out sleeving decks and finding the dice takes longer. But I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that as well. Okay, we're going to call it a show. Hey, thank you if you listen to this. Yes, I'm your host, Brian. This has been Greg. This is Jank It Up Fuzzball. Please, let's see if I can remember the catchphrase. Roll some dice, please. Yes. Play some Jank. Roll some dice. Have some fun. We will talk to you one more time. And then we will conclude Jank It Up Fuzzball. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, all.